Chris Cuomo. Did you see the treatment of this the other night by Tucker Carlson? Because they have a running feud going on.
Oh, do they?
Cuomo and because Tucker can't stand him, and Cuomo's always Tucker is he's like Count Dracula to the left. Do you guys know Soros's woman who he funded for some insidious, strange organization that is against freedom of speech? These guys are controlling the Biden administration in a shockingly weird way. He's got his lady. I covered it the other day, but I want you all to hear this again.
His lady.
She
Do I need
is
to look
now,
up her name? Who is this?
I had her. When I say this lady, is because I had her name the other day. It's a strange name. It's like Chichilululi or something. Some Chichali Lululu.
Oh, you mean the one that's being put
it's
up
like
for the
praying
FEC?
in tongues or something.
Yeah,
over the FCC.
FCC, yeah.
Federal Communications.
Yes.
And listen to her. She has a quote. This is scary as heck. And you should have seen Tucker's face when somebody was reading it to him. She's on record on Twitter. This woman could be in charge of Federal Communications. She thinks that Fox News is the most dangerous source of disinformation, and she says that America will never get a balanced hearing of news until Fox is dragged up on the hill and made to be taken off the air. And imagine that. You put this kind of dingy leadership in Washington, and I promise you, along with Biden's, Build Back Better plan for having 300,000 more IRS agents all targeting you guys out there because they think that you're holding back. If you got $10,000 or that you've done in a year of transactions, they want to go look and snoop under every one of them to see if somehow they can make you pay more to the government. And so their way of paying for their trillions of dollars is to hire shakedown IRS agents to go after freedom of speech.
And it's Gigi.
Her name is, I told you her name was Gigi. What's the last name?
Gigi. I'm going to pronounce it as
Son,
Sohn, S-O-H-N.
S-O-H-N? Gigi Sohn.
Gigi Sohn.
Gigi Sohn. So Gigi Sohn is, she wants to take Fox off the air and probably you. And
you're not even on, but probably you.
Yeah, well, if you go on, she's looking for you. So anyway, you can come to our aid when come to the defense of this country. I'm gonna bring a piano in here, by the way. Those of you that heard me the other night, I actually did something unusual. I brought the keyboards out. People don't know this. I used to be a keyboard artist, and so I was singing away. I did a little Facebook thing there, and did a little time of singing and all that. I'm going to bring it in here because I think that it might be time for us to create our own songs in order to respond to the stress of the times, and we're going to come up with it. But Chris Cuomo was defended by Tucker Carlson because he says, what was the great crime that he committed that got him removed? Well, let's see how long this is. They had a lawyer on who was doing something really bizarre during a Zoom call, and he was taken off. Then he's back in because they're very forgiving over there in their world.
Well, did you read what it said? I didn't understand, because I don't really follow CNN. I have too much to do with my life. I don't have time to watch CNN. But it says transcripts from Cuomo's interview with the state investigators indicate that the CNN star, which star is debatable, would reach out to media sources to find out about his brother's accusers before they came forward publicly. Text messages also indicated he snooped on journalists about upcoming stories that would make his brother look bad and relayed the information to the governor's aides.
Yes, he snooped on journalists about any stories that were breaking, and he would talk to his brother and say, hey, this is going to come out, and might want to get ahead of it before it breaks.
Yeah.
And so
or they could have gone and bullied those women. Here these women are giving testimony.
It doesn't say he bullied
No,
them.
but they could have. You're passing that information on. Who's to say that? I'm just saying anything could have happened if you're exposing. It's like going to investigators to say, hey, this happened to me, and then all of a sudden a journalist abuses the power that he has, a journalist, to look out for his brother. I'm like, well,
Well, and Tucker says, hey, man, so the guy was looking out for his brother. That's not exactly the crime. It's not like Lee Harvey Oswald status stuff. That's not Daryl Brooks category stuff. But he's being vilified. But now Jason Whitlock was on last night, a couple of nights ago anyway. Whenever you hear this, it's valid. I've listened to the interview. And Jason Whitlock, so Tucker says to him, what do you think is going on here with why are they doing this with He said, I've never been a fan of Chris Cuomo, but this seems like an unusual type of thing.
Yeah.
And Whitlock said this. It's because so he's an African American, so he has a lot of bandwidth. He can get away with saying stuff. He says because he's a white heterosexual male. So you put yourself into the hierarchy of the intersectional abusers and abused, victims and such, and oppressors.
Yeah.
He falls in the category of the white heterosexual, which is anathema to the left.
A male, too.
And a male. He's a male in the male hierarchy, and he's heterosexual. He's got a wife and kids. He's the wrong model. We aren't into husbands and wives with children.
Oh, yeah.
And the patriarchy, the white male patriarchy. So he doesn't have any sympathy in support of him. And in fact, it would be better to replace him with someone that more closely matches the ideology of the non-white male patriarchy heterosexual community.
Oh,
even
wow.
if they're flaming liberal left-wing wokers.
Wow.
Just telling you guys, so I think Jason brought up a point that I didn't think of it. That's why I like to listen to other
Maybe
people's
he
opinions.
could salvage his career and just transition,
Well,
That's what a lot of people are doing.
But he's got like he's on what's it called Cirrus. Is it Cirrus?
Oh, Sirius? Cyrus?
Cyrus?
I don't know.
King
Cyrus?
Cyrus?
Jonathan?
It's Sirius. Cyrus.
I always like Jonathan.
I'm not, evidently. They don't take me seriously. All right, so but what is being taken serious, and we have to treat this with a certain level of concern, is the Omicron variant, which, of course, the moment that it came out, it was like, dun, dun, dun. This goes back to why everybody has to get a vaccine, everybody has to be socially distanced. We may have to have another round of lockdowns. We may have to be able to vindicate Fauci and put maybe more masks on. Maybe you have to wear them on indoors. Maybe you have to wear gloves. Maybe you have to snitch on your neighbor if you see him outside without a mask on, like they're doing in Australia and these weird stuff. And maybe a fine. Maybe you need to be fined like they're doing in 6 countries right now. Point is, after doing some research on it, it looks as though it might not be as bad as the other variants.
Highly more infectious, but like not nearly as intense. But I got to say, when it first came out, kind of broke over the weekend, and I was listening to it, and all I could think of was that, my goodness, somebody better get Optimus Prime on the phone because the Decepticons are at it again, and humanity's only hope is going to be, Transformers.
And it's appropriate to deal with the subject this way because of the melodramatic manipulation of an already stressed out country with the way that they represent this stuff. We don't trust the way they represent stuff. But I was on this Flashpoint broadcast with Dr. McCullough a couple of nights ago, and I listened to 3 million people listen to us. So maybe some of you that are out there listen to it. And he was talking about, before he was like hard to get on YouTube anymore. He said, what really bothers him is the fact that there are 5 therapeutics or interventions that are medically valid that can reduce 85% of the mortality before you have to end up going to the hospital. He said, what in the world are we doing where people have this illness, and they're struggling for 10 days with no therapeutics, no instruction? He said, why didn't we have a panel of doctors that were doing daily broadcasts on what's working if you come down with COVID so that you can keep yourself out of the hospital?
Yeah.
The whole focus is on vaccines because that's where the money is and that's where the politics is, instead of where we should have been, which was doctors talking about the 5 therapeutics you could be mixing and matching to stay out of the hospital. 85% could have avoided the hospital.
Sure.
Anyway, we're going to wrap it up here. Any thoughts?
No closing thoughts. We're going to catch everybody next week. We'll talk to them again.
All right, we're going to catch and release.
Happy Friday.
All right, we'll see you again. Bye-bye. I wrote a book, and I talked about Haggai, the prophet, talking about God is going to shake all the nations, including economic systems. And then just recently, I got challenged by a verse. It says, the silver is mine and the gold is mine. And I began to think, you know what? I'd hate to find out there was a promise and a warning here on silver and gold, and I never even thought about it. And that's the reason why I want you guys to do something right now. You want to get a 20-page special report on silver and gold. Go to lancewellnut.com/Birch, because Birch Gold is one organization that is being used by a lot of very credible people right now in order to position themselves with silver and with gold. You need to now start to look into this and learn what it is that maybe God was trying to say, that the silver is mine and the gold is mine. Go to lancewalnut.com/Birch and find out for yourself.